Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and on today's video I'm going to take a look at something which people ask me quite frequently, and that is, Mike, what sort of things do you actually have in your PC repair toolkit? Now actually, one of the things which I normally have, but recently I actually, well, it's a long story. Essentially, what you should do is get yourself an NVMe USB caddy, such as these ones here from Ugreen. Now, these are actually crazy value at the moment. I'm recording this a couple of days before the Amazon Prime Day deals, and I think these are going to get even cheaper, but even so, normal retail pricing of these around about £15 to £17, depending when and where you're shopping. Obviously that's UK prices. These are great. These are really good. So they have a transfer speed of up to 10 gigabits per second. So for kind of like the layman, roughly you're looking at like 1 gig per second read and write on the majority of drives. It will support PCI Express NVMe M.2 drives up to 2 terabytes very easily, and also doesn't matter what generation they are, whether it's Gen 5, Gen 4, Gen 3, etc. It's absolutely fine. The only ones it won't support are the older SATA-based M.2 SSDs, which frankly there's not that many on the market at the moment, and also they don't really need a caddy as fast as this because they max out around about 500 megabytes per second. So really, NVMe drives are pretty much the only ones you can buy on the market these days. So this is absolutely perfect. And also another thing which makes it perfect for me is the fact that it is actually made of aluminium, or it's metal basically. So you've got heat dissipation, and also you've got some grids in there as well, some fins to help with that. So it actually comes with a silicone cover as well. So if you're the sort of person that likes to take your USB storage with you, slip it in a pocket or whatever, maybe you've gone to a, I don't know, cash point or whatever, just taking something out of your pocket and it accidentally falls, it's going to be fine because it's covered in a silicone wrapper. So it's covered on all the corners, all the surfaces, so that is excellent. And also as well, if you're just using it and it's lent on your desk, then it's also going to allow a little bit of airflow in between those surfaces, which potentially could be useful. If you want to take it off, it's very easy because it's silicone, so you just unwrap it and it gives you this nice design. And actually I think it is a really nice design. So again, it is all metal. You've got the heatsink design there on the back, very nice, like a brushed aluminium. You've got a Ugreen logo, very minimal. And also next to that there's a white LED. So the white LED gives you kind of status markers, so permanently on, transferring data, flashing, etc. You get the general idea. So you know if you're basically, your drive is actually alive. It's all powered by USB Type-C, so you don't need any separate power. It will draw power from your USB Type-C socket and also transfer data at the same time. Now, obviously, depending on your motherboard or whatever device you're plugging this into, ideally you want to plug it into a 10 gigabit per second port. Most of them tend to be, although you do get some older 5 gigabit per second ones, which are based on the older USB. But don't worry, either way, included in the accessories, actually some pretty decent accessories. So you get a USB Type-C to USB Type-C cable, which is actually rated to do 10 gigabit transfers, which a lot of these cables aren't, unfortunately, so that is great. You also get a USB Type-C to USB Type-A. So if you've got a device which doesn't have a Type-C, but you still want to transfer some files, absolutely fine, got you covered. That's only going to end up giving you 5 gigabit per second because the Type A's, that's kind of what they max out on generally. Again, depends on what motherboard. If it's the blue color coded ones, generally it's going to be 5 gigabit per second. Anyway, I'm waffling. So you get both cables included, and they're quite tiny as well, so easy to stash in your pocket. You get a crosshead screwdriver, which is handy because there is some disassembly required. There is a crosshead there, you undo that, take off the cover to gain access to the drive, etc. You also get a spare little plastic holder to keep your M.2 drive in place. You're probably seeing some B-roll from this, from what I did a little bit earlier. And actually the whole thing is very easy to do. So just grab yourself a screwdriver, undo the top cover, then you can pry off that top section. That will reveal inside. You can see where the drive actually goes. You do actually get a kind of like a chewing gum stick of thermal interface compound. So you just put that on top of your drive once you've got it installed. There's a little clasp at the top. You just push that over just to hold it in place. That is essentially optional. Even if you lose them, it's going to be fine. The drive is still going to stay in there, no problems at all, and still transfer heat. Yeah, very easy to use, very nice. I really do like these, especially if you are working on lots of PCs or you're transferring data. Like for instance, here at home, we've got multiple PCs. We've also got a Macintosh, etc. So just format this thing to exFAT, and it will basically work in anything. Also, when it comes to transfer protocols, you've got no worries there. It still supports all the usual things that you'd expect for an M.2 drive, so it supports the trim commands, so you've got no issues there. Also, it supports the latest and greatest technology in terms of transfers, so it supports UASP, so that is the USB attached SCSI protocol. Not easy for me to say or even remember at times, but we got there. So yeah, that's a good thing. So it's faster than the older transfer, which I think was called BOT or something like that anyway. So it's a better transfer, less CPU overheads, faster transfers, less latency and all that kind of stuff. And this, like I said, will do kind of 1 gigabit per second read and write. So if you wanted to use this as a video editing storage drive for maybe your Mac or for your desktop PC, possibly even your laptop, you can take all of your video files, stick it onto one of these, plug it into another computer, and you can edit on it quite happily at up to 4K resolutions with no problems at all. So overall, yeah, I think these are excellent. Again, especially for me, I'm quite often doing drive clones. Maybe someone sent me a drive to test and I'll stick it in one of these, clone over my operating system, so it's kind of like a like-for-like situation. Then I can do my testing, stick it back in, and I don't have to worry about having additional M.2 ports on my motherboard, which if you're running a ITX or maybe even a micro ATX motherboard, maybe you've only got the one M.2 slot and you need to transfer your data. So things like this are great, and you can use multiple at the same time. So depending on how many USB ports you physically got on your computer or your Macintosh or your laptop, then you can plug in as many of these as you want to. There are no limitations, and being that they are very cheap, I actually bought 2 of them just so I can do kind of disc-to-disc copies should I ever need to. Always worth having one of these as a backup just in case maybe it fails, which this is from Ugreen, so it should be pretty long lasting. And again, possibly, I don't know for sure, but I would say it's pretty likely. These are generally on sale most of the year round anyway, but I think you'll probably find there's some extra bargains. So we will put some affiliated links in the video description below so you can check out the pricing near you. And also, if maybe you want something a little bit faster, then if you want to spend a little bit more money, then they actually do a 20 gigabit per second and also a 40 gigabit per second based on Thunderbolt. So if you want a faster transfer, you can do it, but you're gonna have to pay a little bit more for it. But I think for most people, 10 gigabit per second, giving you 1 gig transfers is absolutely fine for most people. And even as a workable drive, as a extension on your Mac or on your PC for video editing, transferring files, even just watching movies, fill this thing up with a bunch of movies, take it to a friend's house, go and watch the movies. Happy days, it's all good. Anyway, I'm rabbit on now. So there you go. There is the question asked, what is kind of like one of your favorite go-to tools for PC repair and maintenance? And it's definitely going to be one of these. So anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you have, smash that like button. If you want to see more content like this on a daily basis, maybe consider hitting subscribe and also the chime notification and choose all notifications. That way you'll be notified of future video releases. But for now, I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.